Reds visiting tonight as the Texas Rangers playing host here at Surprise Stadium. Joey Votto and the Reds coming up from Goodyear, the first of 2 consecutive spring broadcasts against Cincinnati. Meanwhile, for the Rangers, Mike Minor back to the mound. First time in 12 days we have seen him on the hill in an A game. Welcome in, folks. Great to be with you once again tonight. I am Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nitkowski. We're going to talk a little starting pitching. We've been doing a little bit of that here this week, but there are 3 new faces in this rotation for the Rangers, but 3 faces very familiar in Major League Baseball.
I think the Rangers did an excellent job when you look at what they brought in this offseason and really how inexpensively they did it to be able to bring in these kind of guys, experienced guys. You see it there, the number of starts, the number of seasons that they have spent in the big leagues, and it did not cost the Rangers a lot to do that. And what that tells you is they are absolutely going to try to contend this year, and it doesn't mean you have to spend big dollars to make it happen. But Mike Minor, the lefty that we will see tonight, has not started in a couple of years. He was a reliever last year with the Kansas City Royals. He missed the previous 2 seasons as he was trying to come back from that shoulder surgery, but it wasn't that long ago when he was a 13-game winner and gave the Atlanta Braves better than 200 innings.
It'll be interesting, too, with him. I mentioned it's been 12 days. He stayed on kind of that 5-day of rest rotation for this team, and they will try to space him out as best they can this season. But we'll see what Mike Minor looks like tonight against the Cincinnati Reds. The guy catching him, a key figure for the Rangers this year. Robinson Chirinos behind the plate and in the lineup. Back in a moment. A little spring training baseball for you tonight on the television set. By the way, mentioned Robinson Chirinos behind the plate today. He's become kind of a big role player on this team. A little more on that. We check in for the first time tonight with Emily Jones.
Yeah, Dave, when we talk about leadership on this team, a lot of times we immediately think of Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrus, naturally vocal leaders both in the clubhouse and on the field for this team. But Robinson Chirinos really is a vital part of what this team is trying to do leadership-wise. And because of the work that he puts in, because of the experiences that he's been through, he commands the attention and the respect of every guy in that clubhouse. And he really is one of those guys that takes on a very personal role with individual players as far as mentoring them, trying to help them build team chemistry, all those things that are required of a great leader. He is more soft-spoken, unlike Elvis Andrus, so we don't see it very often, but we see it inside the clubhouse. What I meant to say, you don't see it outwardly as much, but you definitely do see it in the clubhouse and the work that he does with those guys.
Yeah, he is. He's one of those guys, kind of sneaky. The size of the role that he plays on this team, and he has been a fantastic, of course, receiver and does a great job working with the personalities on this staff. And then lately, of course, offensively, he's become such a big threat for the Rangers as he helps bring the club out onto the field tonight. Just about set to go in this one. The Reds, 9 wins, 15 losses, 2 ties. It's been a struggle this spring for them. It's been a struggle for the last 3 years for Brian Price and the Cincinnati Reds. Let's take a look at how they line things up tonight. The speedy Billy Hamilton leading it off in center field. Eugenio Suarez just signed a big contract this offseason at third base. Joey Votto, Adam Duvall, and Scooter Gennett at second base. It'll be Scott Schebler in right, Tucker Barnhart, the Gold Glove catcher, and Cliff Pennington and Sal Romano, their starting pitcher, will bat ninth tonight.
A lot of guys that you certainly can expect to see in the opening day lineup for the Cincinnati Reds, and that is what Mike Minor will go up against tonight. You see what he's done so far in his 3 games in spring training, going through the rotation, something he hasn't done in a while. And I mentioned in the open that he missed the last couple of years because of the shoulder surgery. He did make 10 starts at the minor league level 2 years ago for the Kansas City Royals as he was trying to come back, but he found a home in the bullpen last year, did an excellent job, but it is a return to the starting rotation, and he will see 4 left-handed hitters tonight along with 3 switch hitters. There are only 2 natural righties in this lineup, and one of them is the opposing starting pitcher in Sal Romano. So this will be an interesting night here for Mike Minor.
Well, defensively behind Minor, looks a lot like an opening day lineup right there with Rua, DeShields, and Mazzara in the outfield. Beltre and Andrus on the left side of the infield. Rougned Odor, Joey Gallo on the right, and Chirinos doing the catching. So Mike Minor ready to go. Last time we saw him in an A game, mentioned, was 12 days ago. It was against the Oakland A's. Went 4 innings, allowed 1 hit. There's a chopper over third. Makes its way out into left field, and with Hamilton's speed, he thinks about it, but will hustle back to first with that leadoff single. We have a bit of a situation here tonight.
Oh,
yeah. Those are not far from where we're located.
Yeah, so that's why I closed my window. Yours is still open. The other issue is that we'll lose a camera, at least temporarily, what we call our high home camera, which gives you that nice view of the entire field. There it is, a wider shot of it. But there's one in the booth. Beat it.
Okay, here's the deal. Don't aggravate them. Sit down.
I mean, literally, it was just right in front of my face. So I was aggravated because your window's still open. And mine is not.
Yeah, there's the camera, and then there are the bees. That's hazard pay.
Yeah, I wonder what, like, out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, I mean that was. I hadn't seen anything all afternoon, and then all of a sudden, as we're getting ready to go on the air, there they were. Anyway, a leadoff single for Billy Hamilton, a guy you have to pay attention to over at first base. Now Suarez, who's hitting .243 this spring with 3 home runs. And he pops this one foul over to the right side out of play. All right, so snakes or bees? What bothers you more?
You know, it's a big no thank you to both of them, for sure. I'm not welcoming one over the other into my home or into my life. And anyway, that's pretty scary right there. The swarm like that many. You know, if you were to say, hey, you have death by snake or death by bees, you know, I guess I'd take the snake. Maybe it'd be quicker.
Minor ahead here 0-2, and leaves that one a little bit high. 94 miles per hour with the fastball. Suarez, their third baseman. And last year, a good year for Suarez. Saw some great improvements. And one way in which he improved greatly was in his walk rate. A much more patient hitter as the count now goes to 2-2. In 2016, Suarez had a walk rate of about 8%. And last year it got up nearly 13.5%. So even though he's down in a whole 0-2, you see now he's worked it back to even. And one of those guys who will put a little more of a major league at bat on you, as we like to say. Right now with a good long look. And just misses. It's a full count.
Well, you mentioned the contract extension. The Reds like what they saw last year. They believe in the improvements, right? You're always, I think, a little bit cautious about signing someone up to a long-term contract when they're coming off a career year. But they believe in what they saw. They believe that's going to stick, and they'll continue to hold and maybe even get better. 7 years moving Suarez through the 2024 season, plus there is an option for 2025. He was only a 3+ player, so they had 3 years of control anyway where he was going to go through the arbitration system. But they've tacked on 4 more years of control, and if they exercise that option, an additional 5th.
Oh, that is a fair ball. Just stays inside the line, and with Hamilton's speed, they will undoubtedly wave him to the plate. He scores a double by Suarez, and Cincinnati strikes first tonight.
A couple of bad breaks here, I think, for Mike Minor. You mentioned he was ahead 0-2. The count went 3-2, and it's not a terrible pitch. You see the ball down. It's away. It's a ground ball, but it's just hit perfectly down the line. Billy Hamilton was just a chop single that bounces over the head of Adrian Beltre. And so just kind of an awkward inning here for Mike Minor so far. Throwing strikes, keeping the ball on the ground. That's really all you can ask. It's what you look for, but it's turned into a couple of hits and a run here for the Reds in the first inning.
So man in scoring position for Joey Votto, another left-handed hitter. And he takes strike 1. Votto not afraid to take a strike, though he would disagree on the merits of that pitch.
He's such an interesting guy because he knows the strike zone so well, as good as anybody. And when you have these kind of hitters that know the strike zone the way that Joey Votto does, when they believe and they're confident that they have taken a ball and it is called a strike, you see the reaction. It is not uncommon from that type of hitter. They believe so strongly that they know better than the umpire what a strike is. And it's also, some gamemanship as well, as you're trying to work that umpire a little bit and make him second guess himself, because you probably didn't like that pitch. You don't want to hit that pitch, and you prefer not be called a strike.
Off the plate, 2-1. We saw some of those impressive numbers for Joey Votto. Career ranks. How about a .428 on base percentage? Best among active players. I might say that he's a guy who flies under the radar. MVP in 2010. Last year was second in the National League in MVP voting. But I guess it's playing for so many teams in Cincinnati that just haven't performed well. This is a team that has lost 94 or more games each of the last 3 seasons. And so you just tend to lose track of Joey Votto sometimes.
No, absolutely. As good of a player as he is, I think you're right. You bring up a good point. And he has played in the postseason before, but since he has been with the Cincinnati Reds, there have been just 3 playoff appearances for Joey Votto clubs, the 11 seasons that he's been in the big leagues.
When he takes strike 3 looking. So first out of the ball game tonight, and for Minor, it's a strikeout.
Not an easy one to get either. I mean, Joey Votto looking for called strike 3, and he knew it. Watch, this is a front door, little slider cutter. That pitch is a ball the entire way. It just comes in and catches the inside corner. Joey Votto probably looking for something out over the plate. He is certainly a guy that will either sit on pitches or sit on certain sides of the plate. He wasn't expecting that pitch from Mike Minor.
So now Adam Duvall, and he takes strike 1.
And it is a slider that Mike Minor throws, but sometimes when you see a slider get a little bit smaller, it's almost like a kind of a big cutter. He didn't necessarily throw the slider with depth right there. Stayed on the same plane right at the hip of Joey Votto. Great pitch.
Check of that runner at second, and Duvall swings and hits this one well out to left center field, carrying toward the wall, and it is gone. 2-run homer for Adam Duvall, his 3rd of the spring. And the Reds lead 3-0.
Adam Duvall really has burst on the scene the last couple of years. 31 home runs a year ago to go with 99 RBIs. 2 years ago, 33 home runs. And that was his real first opportunity to get some regular playing time. But let's take a look at this pitch from Mike Minor. And it looked like it might have been a little changeup that cut back over the plate at 86 miles an hour. That's what happens sometimes. You get around that pitch, any of your pitches, whether it's a fastball, 2-seamer, changeup, it cuts back just a little bit. Mike Minor's changeup sits right around 85 miles an hour. To a right-handed hitter, you can run into a little bit of trouble.
Bases cleared for Scooter Gennett, who Hits one on the ground right to Adrian Beltre, and that is out number 2. Well, Mike Minor has dug himself a little hole here early on. He's been good this spring. That was the first home run he has allowed down here in Arizona. The 3rd start for him, 4th appearance. And prior to tonight, it pitched to a .284 earned run average. And dumps one in there for a strike to Scott Schebler. Real good swing there by Schebler, and a whole 0-2. Another guy with good power. 30 home runs last season. 26 years old. They're pretty good on the corner outfield spots in Cincinnati. And they've got a pretty nice looking offense. The question for the Reds this year and in past years has been, would they have the pitching? Could they find the pitching to compete in the National League Central? And the answer to that question in the last 3 years has been no. Count stays 1-2.
Injuries have been such an issue for them. Then finding consistency. They signed up Homer Bailey a few years ago. Big contract, 9-figure deal, up over $100 million. And just about a year and a half to 2 years in, he started battling injuries, and that was a big loss for them.
We waited on that one. Schebler sends it out towards center field. Plenty of room out there for Delano DeShields, and the inning is done. But Cincinnati gets the first 3 runs of this one tonight, and the Rangers are just now coming to bat.
Make sure to visit any one of the multiple concession areas at 19, which
Too many of them here, though.
the
I mean, I've never known. Like, do they live there?
It's all new to me.
Huh. Well, we'll get our high home camera back here shortly. The Rangers, meanwhile, getting ready to get after it offensively. Delano DeShields in center field, starting things off. Then Joey Gallo, Elvis Andrus, Adrian Beltre at third base, batting cleanup. Mazzara, Chu the DH. Robinson Chirinos catching. Rougned Odor at second, and Ryan Rua in left field will bat ninth. And Sal Romano on the hill for Cincinnati.
See those numbers from a year ago. That is at the big league level. 16 starts that he had with the Cincinnati Reds. Too bad for a rookie year, and a guy who has found himself in contention here in 2018. Coming into camp, wasn't necessarily a guy who was expected to have a legitimate shot at the rotation, but he does now.
Bouncer up the middle, and that ball thrown way out of play. And DeShields will go to second base. Wow, that was something. Chad Pennington just airmailed it.
He certainly did. And so everybody scattering in the Ranger dugout, not something that you necessarily would be expecting from The veteran in Pennington, you see him there, plenty of time, and he just absolutely airmailed that. Joey Votto didn't even go for it. Unfortunately, nobody was near that baseball.
Except for the spectators in the first row.
Did that go in the stands?
Almost. I think there's netting down there that.
Oh, I thought it went in the dugout. Oh, my.
So now Joey Gallo. And looked like a little cross up down there. What did you see down there, Emily?
Well, I saw Nomar Mazara hit the deck faster than anything I've ever seen before. It looked like he had a heart attack. He got down pretty quick. It came screaming into the dugout, and everyone scurried. And Nomar hit the floor pretty quickly.
Well, he had a heart attack. Tucker Barnhart just had a heart attack because he just got crossed up by Romano on that pitch. You couldn't wait to get out there and talk to him. So you understand what set of signs we're using, right? Because you definitely didn't throw what I put down.
1-0.
I always wonder about that for a catcher. When that happens, obviously you have to go out. You have to talk to your pitcher. You have to tell him what's going on with signs. But as you sit back down in there, is there a party that's going? He knows now, right? Like now he definitely. I just told him. Like I always got to believe that to some degree that catcher's wondering just a little bit. Was he listening? Was he paying attention? Can I trust that he's going to throw this breaking ball here, not a 95-mile-an-hour fastball?
Upstairs, 3-0. Odd start so far for Romano. Well, you look at Joey Gallo batting second today, and here's that situation we've talked a lot about with Gallo in the 2-hole and Delino on base in front of him, and not just on base but out there at second. We still see a bit of a shift for Cincinnati. Only one infielder on the left side. And the 3-0 grounded sharply. Jeanette out there in the outfield throws out Gallo. And there's one away, but Shields easily to third base.
Joey Gallo green lighted here in a 3-0 count. He got a pitch that he can handle too. He just got on top of this ball, rolled over it a little bit. I don't have a problem with it. Certainly Jeff Bannister doesn't either. When you have the kind of power that Joey Gallo has, even though he is hitting in the 2-hole, he's not there trying to draw a walk, and especially in spring training. And that is a conversation that has changed a lot in our game. 3-0 count might be the best pitch you're going to get to hit in an at bat. So why not go after it if you like it? Joey Gallo did. He just got out in front of that one a little bit.
Throw back to third base, and there was nobody there. Defensively, the Reds a little out of sync, it looks like, in this first inning.
Certainly not what Brian Price wants to see at this part in spring training. I mean, the errors are going to happen. A little unusual for Chad Pennington to make that bad of a throw, but then it was the cross up on the signs, and then the throw there from nobody was at the back.
2-0 to Andrus. Boy, is Elvis having a nice spring coming off that great year last year. Breakout year last year for Elvis, which was on the heels of a breakout year the year before. He is trending upward. Romano's 2-0. And he misses again. He's been falling behind guys. He went 3-0 to Gallo, now 3-0 to Andrus. Elvis has hits in 7 straight and 11 of 12 overall. He's reached base safely in every game in which he has played this spring. And he takes a strike. Elvis hitting .481 in Cactus League play. So he is ready to go. Romano just 24 years old, off his first big league action last year. He gets Andrus to swing through it. Drafted in the 23rd round in 2011. Went to high school up in Connecticut. And in his wanderings through the minor leagues, he has been a Tortuga, a Blue Wahoo, a Dragon, and a Mustang. Bouncer toward third, and DeShields will score. The throw goes to first, and they get Elvis. And Delano concerned that there might be a play at the plate when diving in headlong. The Rangers scored their first run of the night. Andrus getting the RBI on the ground out.
And they'll take it any way you can get it when you have a situation runner at third, first inning. Even though the Reds have put a couple of runs on the board. Good job by Elvis on a good pitch and making sure that he puts that ball in play. Giving Delano plenty of opportunity to score. Suarez thought about it, but he knew better.
Beltre watches one all the way in for a strike. Adrian, limited time last year, a couple of calf injuries really shortened the season for him, but a great season nonetheless. This year he's been healthy here in spring. They have eased him in gently, and he has responded with a .350 average. 2-1. .39 years old, and you would never know it. Mono's 2-1. And a chopper over to first base. Beltre retired to win the inning, but the Rangers get a run back. So we have played one complete. The Reds lead it 3-1.
Luke, Air Force Base, sir. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep. And anyway, a lot of fun down here. Hey, season tickets, you get more for your buck with a full or a half season ticket plan. Like in the best prices and the best seating locations. And you get all the exclusive perks that come along with it. Season ticket holders this year may select their seats this summer for the new Globe Life Field opening in 2020. Delano DeShields routinely making one of those tumbling catches in center field. Nicely done. One away here in the second inning.
Nice play by Delano DeShields. And we know, of course, he's got the great speed, but it's a closing speed. Good extension there as he pulls out one right off of the turf just before he gets it.
The uniform is filthy. We're just in the top of the second inning. Now, when I was a kid, that was always a big deal to me. Whether I had a good game or did anything good at all, I just wanted a grass stain or some dirt or something. Pennington shoots one right over first base. That ball smoked down toward the corner. No round first. Cruz to second base and may indeed think about three. There he goes. Odor's throw will bounce a few times, and Pennington headlong into third with a one-out triple.
Take a look here at this pitch. Not a bad one. Down and away from Mike Minor. Fastball pretty well located, but that's a great approach right there by Cliff Pennington. You think about those right-handed hitters facing lefties and the ones that can stay close. Think about middle away, because that's where you're going to get so many pitches. Take that approach, would be in good shape here. And throw a little bit offline. Probably couldn't have had Pennington anyway.
Sal Romano, and he keeps that one fair. So the pitcher slaps one down the line. Pennington scores, and Cincinnati back to a 3-run lead.
When I saw that stance, I wasn't overly concerned necessarily about Sal Romano, and I don't know if Mike Minor was either, but he does a good job of putting the bat on the ball and placing a ground ball right down the line. Sal Romano helping himself out.
Well, that is 5 hits in the early going for Cincinnati, and turns the lineup over to Billy Hamilton for his second plate appearance tonight, and he hits one down the third base side foul.
A year ago for Sal Romano, 1 for 24 in his 30 plate appearances at the big league level. In those 30 plate appearances, he struck out 15 times.
Oops.
It's a 50% strikeout rate, in case you were wondering.
Hamilton's ground ball to shortstop, and they'll go the short way, get the out there. No chance of doubling up the quick center fielder, but 2 away in the inning. Hamilton taking over for Romano at first. So here is Eugenio Suarez. Suarez had the RBI double in the first. Some 7 RBIs this spring.
And we showed those Jets, of course, coming out of Luke Air Force Base. I ran across this earlier. J.J. Cooper, who was writer and editor at Baseball America, does some excellent work, ranked his spring training sites, and surprise was #1. Part of the reason for him, that rank, was because of the F-35s and F-16s that are constantly flying over the ballpark.
No kidding.
Said you can't beat it at such a low level. High praise.
Well, this the spring training site has gotten a lot of love this year. USA Today ranking it the #1 spring training venue and experience in Arizona. Mine are a little tight. 2-1 to Suarez. We've seen some good crowds. We had like 9,500 here yesterday. Won't have as big a crowd tonight. But what a gorgeous evening. Couldn't get better weather than we have had here these last couple of days. Minor sets and delivers 2-1, and a soft one hopper by second, and that one squirts into the outfield. Hamilton pedaling for third. They'll stop him. So Suarez has the base hit. Hamilton, of course, always wants to see about taking the extra base, but they kept him at third.
Let's watch this pitch here. Mike Minor trying to go in, and the ball was middle in, maybe not all the way in the way that he wanted it, but not that far off and pretty well hit. And with the shift with Odor playing a little bit more up the middle, was unable to get to that ball. A lot of contact here so far with those 6 hits from the Cincinnati Reds, but Mike Minor continues to throw strikes. Kind of hard to believe the 1 strikeout he has was of this man right here, one of the toughest to strike out in Major League Baseball.
And looking to boot his breaking ball in there for strike 1. In fact, Votto would come in with 9 walks against 9 strikeouts this spring. As you point out, a very disciplined hitter. Last year, Votto walked 134 times. He struck out only 83 times. And that one just off the plate, so 1-1.
So that's a good pitch right there, right? Kind of borderline. And again, it's a spring training game, and no umpire will ever admit this, but you kind of wonder, did Joey Votto buy himself that ball? And it might have been just off the plate, but based on his first at bat and what we were talking about, certainly possible that you make an umpire kind of second guess himself a little bit. And I think Joey Votto may have done that there and got himself a ball.
Borderline strike there, 1-2 the count. Do you think hitters are able to manipulate that more than pitchers?
I think so, because when a pitcher does it, it really comes across as some bad whining, and the body language, everyone sees it. It's just a bad look, right? And umpires certainly don't like that, and they get a little aggravated. And there's kind of sneaky ways you can do it. I mean, we see it now a lot where pitchers will talk to an umpire maybe after an inning. They want to discuss a pitch, get a little feedback, and that's a more respectful way to do it, and that'll give you a little bit of a better chance.
But a good catcher can really affect that relation. Like a good relationship back there, a working relationship, can go a long way toward earning pitches for a guy. And I'm not talking about framing per se. I'm talking about the politicking and really the mechanics, the way they work with, you know, an umpire wanting to look over an inside shoulder or whatever the case. 2-2. Now you worked with a guy very highly regarded among catchers in your career, Brad Ausmus. I'm sure there were others, but was Brad in that way?
Oh, sure.
The best?
He was probably one of the best. I threw to Pudge as well. You know, I have a lot of good catchers. Mike Piazza, not known for his defense necessarily, but not nearly as bad as I think as everybody thought. I mean, any of the guys that have been around that know the umpires really well and have those good relationships, those guys certainly do a nice job of that.
Moving on the pitch, Suarez gets to third base, or rather second base, but he comes off the bag, and Odor tags him. How about that play? Instead of going for Votto at first base, Odor saw the opportunity. He gets the out at second, and more of the beautiful scenes here from Surprise.
Here's why, and this is a very interesting call, and really a missed call, as we'll show you right here. Now watch what happens with the runner taking off, and you see Rougned Odor come over, and he decides that he's got a better play at second and tags the runner. But look where the guy crossing home plate, which was Billy Hamilton, is. Right?
Well, no, not crossing home plate yet.
Not even close yet. They said that he scored before the tag was made at second base. That was not even remotely close, and a bad call. And Jeff Bannister actually hopped out afterwards when that call was made to say something, but he did not get anywhere with John Tupane, who is a big league umpire. Of course, sometimes in spring training you don't necessarily always get big league umpires. Some minor league guys will rotate through, but no instant replay here in spring training. And I mean, my goodness, that was not even remotely close. And interesting, I think, on Billy Hamilton's part, obviously maybe the fastest guy in the game, got away with one there.
Right, because he did not play that one all the way out with his speed. If he was going full bore, he might well have legitimately scored that run before the out was made. But by kind of coasting in, it wasn't even close. That was like 2-3 steps away from the plate. It's baffling to me that they missed that call as badly as they did.
And they did give Joey Votto a hit there, right, as well.
Yeah.
But the only reason that the runner is still active in that situation is because Eugenio Suarez went past second base. If Odor was to step on second or to tag him before he got to second base, then there's zero chance because it's a force out that the run would even be considered. But because he actually crossed second base, past it, that counted.
Mazara bounces it left side of the infield. Whoop! Trying to get that glove down. Suarez pulled up a little early, and that goes down. I believe it's an E5. Mazara is aboard. I heard E6 over the in-house PA, but that's an E6. Oh, pardon me. The other way.
It is
an
E5. You heard E6. You had it right.
Yeah.
Give yourself credit, man. You nailed it.
Sometimes when I have conversations with myself, I confuse me. Here is Shin-Soo Choo. So Mazara is on.
Is it E4?
Back-to-back left-handed hitters this inning, and whoa, that one came in tight. Choo tried to get out of the way of that. It apparently did. I thought maybe it might have clipped the bat, but he did manage to miss it. And so the count 1-0.
Could you hear that? I'm going to open my window again.
Good to have you back.
These are gone.
Mono with the set, and Choo spoils it. It's 1-1. I suppose as it gets cooler at night, maybe they shut it down. I wonder what fired them up in the first place.
No idea. Maybe they're trying to get those baseballs up there.
But then again, 2-1 the count. Well, it makes that baseball hunt up on the roof a little less compelling for me now. Those foul balls,
You mean less likely for you to go up there now? You're actually considering it?
well, I'm not now. Not with those bees. I was hoping to get up there tonight after the game. 3-1 on Choo.
Last night in Arizona for the
Yeah.
broadcast crew. Next TV game will be in Arlington on Monday.
Against the same Cincinnati team. Full count on Choo. Rangers got a run in the first inning. It was an unearned run. DeShields reached on a two-base error to start the inning and eventually scored on an Andrus ground ball. Here in the second inning, Mazara gets on to start the inning again on an error. Check that. They end up scoring that a hit. So forget whether it was an E6 or an E5 or anything like that. It just said, we can't figure it out. It's a hit. Choo sends one in the air left field, slicing toward the line, and that one beyond the reach of Duvall. I'm not often one to get into the debating of scoring decisions, but that surprises me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I mean, maybe because Suarez was moving as much as he was, and backhand, and you take into consideration that he was at the shortstop position as the third baseman, it seems like a reach.
Strike three called, and Mazara on the move is gunned down for the strike him out, throw him out double play.
It's a pretty good throw right on the money. It was close, though, as you see Choo taking the strike. But watch this throw right here. And they got him. Barely. You feel pretty comfortable, I think, sending Mazara in that spot, knowing that Choo is a guy who's not going to look out striking very often, most likely put the ball in play. But one of those rare times, unfortunately, there for the Rangers.
Chirinos takes a strike from Romano. First at bat tonight for Robinson, batting 7th in the order. Look at those numbers last year. 17 home runs in 88 games played. Romano, big guy, 270 pounds, like 6'4".
6'5".
6'5", you say?
Yeah, according to his baseball reference page.
Big broad shoulders. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, good chance they call him Big Sal, right?
I would think it's a given.
No brainer.
1-2. Another strikeout for Romano, is second of the inning, and so the Rangers go quietly in the second inning. We're off to the third. Reds leading by 4.
Owen will be here to stand this evening, and Jack.
Off gate prices. Add on picnic areas, meal deals, or other experiences, and make your group outing even more memorable. Go to TexasRangers.com/groups to plan your group outing today. You can do just about anything at TexasRangers.com. Buy your tickets, find out the game schedule, the giveaway schedules. First pitch here in the third inning. That one belted into left field by Adam Duvall. Reds have come out swinging tonight.
Now they certainly have, but there have been some comfortable swings. You also mentioned earlier a couple of ground balls that were well placed as well. But one of those outings as you're watching Mike Minor here, and he's navigating, going back into the rotation. You see that ball cut back over the plate again. That's another one. He gets himself in a little bit of trouble tonight with some of these right-handed hitters. Just some balls that come back over the plate, whether it's the fastball or even the changeup. Or he's trying to go to the outside third of the plate, but ball seems to be coming back over the middle a little bit.
Scooter Gennett takes ball one.
I would say during the regular season, and still only spring training, getting your work and everything else. But when you start to see how this is developed, and even earlier on, I would say that for Mike Minor, maybe getting a couple of these Reds hitters a little bit uncomfortable, running the ball in off the plate a little bit more. With some pretty comfortable swings, especially for Adam Duvall, who's hit a couple of balls pretty hard. Tucker Barnhart hit that ball pretty well when he lined out to Delano to Shields, and Pennington with the triple to right. Suarez, of course, with a couple of hits. So just trying to get these Reds hitters maybe just a little bit more uncomfortable. And it doesn't just mean, you know, throw one up and in, you go back to what you're doing. I mean, certainly you always want to be able to move a hitter's feet, but then also making those hitters aware that you're not afraid to throw in also for strikes. Like, it's one thing if you just throw one up and in, it's not always going to necessarily have that kind of effect, but making those hitters aware on inside pitches.
This ball lifted deep down the left field line. Rua into the corner, and he drops that one in fair territory. Duvall gets to third base. Jeanette to second. Now, that's a tough play. Rua had his glove on it though, and it looked like he might have taken one away from Jeanette.
Yeah, Ryan Rua started chasing, and you're going to see him here. Now it's a tough angle, but I think he thought that ball was going to be a little bit closer to the wall, and it looked like it died on him a little bit at the end. It caught him by surprise as he got near the warning track, and because of that, the ball ended up dropping in. That one went down as a hit as well, did it not?
It did. To roll with it tonight here is Scott Schebler. Flied out in the first inning, 0 for 1, and hits this ball the other way, high in the air, deep to left field. But Rua has room this time, takes care of it. Duvall tags, he'll score, and Jeanette able to tag and advance to third. A little riskier play for Jeanette, but he's able to get in there underneath the tag. One away.
This one had some carry to it as well. You're going to see first pitch for Scott Schebler comes out hacking. The ball is elevated just a little bit. Some decent carry. Ryan Rua right there on the track, and he makes the catch and makes a pretty strong throw. You're going to have no chance to throw out Adam Duvall, but for Scooter Jeanette, I think maybe he probably saw Ryan Rua going back on that ball as he caught it, which also gave him the confidence to go ahead and try to tag right there. He didn't have enough time to get all the way behind it. Had he, I think it might have been a little bit of a different result.
So now a similar fly ball should be enough to get Jeanette home as well. Tucker Barnhart 0 for 1, flied out in the second inning, really on a very good defensive play by Delino DeShields. Switch hitting catcher. Let's see what he has done this spring. Guy who won a Gold Glove last year. And pops it up down the right field line. That one well beyond anyone's reach. 1 and 2.
Now with the infield in, runner on third, less than 2 outs. This is that situation where you'd like to see Mike Minor try to get the strikeout. Or tries to elevate the fastball. Could be the breaking ball that he has shown today. The bigger breaking ball, the curve ball, change up out of the zone. Lots of different options here, but he can expand the zone and try to get a swing and a miss from Tucker Barnhart.
Oh, instead he sneaks one right in there for a called third strike.
That one came back over the plate a little bit too. I mean, it caught the corner, very similar to the pitch I think that we saw Joey Gallo strike out on. Now we had this one at 80 miles an hour, so that might have been a changeup that cut back a little bit. Well located. Seen a couple of good pitches. Very same regard there for Mike Minor tonight, but a big strikeout, a big spot.
His second strikeout tonight, and now Cliff Pennington. Not sure where that one missed. Ball 1. Pennington had the triple in the second inning. 3 runs in the first, 2 runs in the second, a run here in the third for Cincinnati. And it's 1 and 1.
One of the interesting storylines to watch with Mike Minor this year is he really did see a spike in velocity in the bullpen, and that's not surprising. A pretty common tale. It's his average fastball, 4-seam fastball last year was right around 94, 95 miles an hour, is where he sat. The 2-seam fastball sat around 92. Now it's a difficult thing to really maintain when you go back into the rotation, because when he was starting previously, you'd see that fastball sit 91, 92, maybe around there. So he saw 2 to 3 miles an hour faster on the heater coming out of the pen. Now, what will he be able to maintain as a starter will be one of the things that certainly the Rangers will be keeping an eye on. We saw some 93s from him earlier, but we've seen the fastball come down a tick to 90, 91, even below 90 so far in this inning. It will definitely be one of those storylines for Mike Minor as we watch him in 2018 here with the Rangers back in the starting rotation.
First year of a 3-year deal with the Rangers. Signed this offseason. 2-2 pitch and just missed. Now, what about this though? He's pitched now this spring as if it's a 6-man rotation. He gets 5 days off between starts. there had been a lot of conversation about that coming into spring, but it doesn't look as if this team is going to go with a 6-man rotation. This ball hit well down the left field line. Long run Rua has room though, and the inning is done. And you will now have time to compose an answer.
There you go.
And entertain us when we return. Another run scored for Cincinnati. They lead by 5.
You just won your choice of a free Chick-fil-A lunch entree from Chick-fil-A Surprise Market.
Hey, looking ahead, the regular season just around the corner. We're going to open a week from today. Afternoon baseball at a Globe Life Park. Houston Astros in town on Thursday, then Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. And then it's off to the road. 4 games at the Coliseum against Oakland. Home again for Toronto, as well as the Angels. Back and forth we go. A lot of games with Houston in the early part of the schedule for Texas, but it's exciting. We're a week away, and this thing is about to get started for real.
Opening day, always such an event. All the optimism, thinking about, of course, what could be this year. Getting excited about the Rangers in 2018, getting tested right away against the defending world champions, and their opportunity for both clubs. Set your rotation right from the start so you get your best matchups as well in that first 4-game series.
Well, the other thing about opening day, of course, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds tonight. They have traditionally always opened the Major League season, a day game in Cincinnati, and the big parade, the opening day parade, Findlay Market, as Odor swings and hammers one deep to right field. That one carrying well, and it is gone. Odor's first home run of Cactus League play. And maybe a nice omen, something to build on as we get ready for opening day. 6-2 the score.
Rougned Odor absolutely crushed his baseball, and one of my favorite things that he does when he hits home runs, and you'll watch it right here. He knew it, head down. I wouldn't even call it a bat flip, but just kind of dropped the bat down, a little twist, and off he goes. He knows when he gets him, and he knew he absolutely got that one. Watch this ball fly deep for the night here in Surprise, Arizona.
So now Ryan Rua takes a strike. 6-2. And a real nice sign for Rougned Odor. Wow, runs that one in. Anyway, how about this? It's been like 98 years that Findlay Market has hosted that parade in Cincinnati, but it's not happening this year.
Because?
The conflict with the Maundy Thursday holiday. Because next Thursday is Maundy Thursday. Right before Easter. The whole thing. So
What'd you say? It's what?
Maundy Thursday, right?
I have no idea what that is.
It's a Holy Thursday, is it?
Holy Thursday.
That's what you call it, right?
Yeah.
Holy Thursday. Well, I guess
Monday?
maybe Maundy Thursday where I went to
Yeah.
Presbyterians.
Really?
I guess. I don't know.
I've
Maybe
never
that's
heard
what
that
it is.
before.
So anyway, it's like a big shopping day, and so the Findlay Market, it's like a big deal. They moved the parade to, I don't know, April 2nd or something, but it's not going to quite feel the same.
No, it certainly is not.
Ooh, strikes out swing. 98-year tradition cast away for a good shopping day.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. This economy, you got to take advantage of everybody out shopping. You can always have a parade. You can't always have a Monday, Thursday sale.
Here is Delano DeShields. That's 3 strikeouts now for Romano. Shields reached on the error in the first inning and scored the Rangers' first run, and he takes a strike. Oh, 2. Romano looking pretty decent tonight, facing a big league lineup, no doubt about that. This is probably what you would expect the Rangers to run out there against a right-handed starter. 1-2 the count. Jeff Bannister, really, I mean, the lineup is presented probably the fewest questions for him this spring. It's mostly been about the bullpen, starting rotation, maybe some bench spots as well as DeShields. How's that one out of play? Set up away, and Romano's pitch bounced back up the middle, and that one is through. So a base hit for DeShields.
Great approach here from Delano DeShields as Sal Romano, despite the home run, had struck out 3 of the last 4 hitters. Breaking ball here down over the plate, but a good approach to take it right back up the middle. As much as Delano told us the other night, says he's not trying to hit ground balls, that is really his strength. When he can keep that ball on the ground, keep it in the middle of the field, and really use that speed to his advantage.
So now he is a threat to run, and Gallo a threat to hit it out of the stadium every time he stands in. See the shift against Joey Gallo, and the balk. So DeShields will be given second base.
Let's take a look here what happened. Romano started, and stopped. A weird, was that left shoulder that looked like it might have flinched a little bit?
Well,
and his back foot, it looked like he tried to step off but didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I think it left the rubber briefly but didn't step off. Gallo, and he takes one inside.
So what this does, which is interesting, because when Delano DeShields was on first, look where Scooter Gennett is now. But he couldn't play there with Delano on first. He was actually up on the dirt. You think about a potential double play with less than 2 outs, and so now with Delano getting second base, that allows the Reds to play Joey Gallo a little bit deeper, and then it also gives you that opportunity to take Pennington and put him even on the right side of first base, where they thought maybe they had a chance at a double play. It's a little bit of a different configuration. So not just based on the hitter, but then also where the base runners are as far as how teams feel like they can shift Joey Gallo.
And in that same view, you could see the third baseman, Eugenio Suarez. He's playing more of a traditional third base position there. He was way over at short, maybe pinching toward the bag up the middle. The 2-0 way inside. So it opens up that left side of the infield quite a bit as well. You know, toward the middle more, whereas it used to be the opening was much more down the line.
This is kind of cool to see, right? Joey Gallo 3-0 count the first time he was up. He's swung at the 3-0 pitch. Was a little bit out in front of it and hit a ground ball at Scooter Gennett, who was in shallow right field. We'll see whether or not Joey decides to let it fly again if he gets a pitch that he likes here on 3-0. Kind of like it. I'd like to see him go after one. Just because he grounded out doesn't mean he shouldn't swing 3-0.
Well, he is swinging 3-0, and he hits this one high in the air. A towering fly ball out to center field. Hamilton waiting patiently, makes the catch, and there's no threat of anybody moving.
So even though we just saw you might consider 2 negative results on Joey Gallo swinging 3-0. The reason I said I wouldn't mind seeing him swing, and I'm sure Jeff Bannister probably and Anthony Iapoce feel the same way. Swinging 3-0 takes some comfort for guys. You know, traditionally you were always taught when especially you're coming up as an amateur, and then maybe early years in the minor leagues, at 3-0 you just wouldn't swing. It was an automatic take. But when you got the kind of power that Joey Gallo has, you want him to have that green light, but not only to have it, but to feel comfortable 3-0. It sounds maybe easier than it really can be for some hitters. So I think it's good to see him have a couple of 3-0 counts. You know, the swing sometimes will have a tendency to get a little bit bigger, but let him be comfortable, because when he's in those counts, I think I want to see that big bat go to work.
Elvis Andrus checks up but takes a strike from Romano. Another great spring for Elvis. Drove in a run in the first inning with a ground ball. He's got the Shields out there at second base. We're talking about how the lineup is pretty well set. Defensively, the Rangers pretty well set, and so Jeff Bannister, as he has gone in the last week or so of spring training, has really focused a little more on how you compose the bullpen. Ground ball, second base, and Andrus retired to end the inning. We'll get to some of these topics when we come back.
Well, how about Rougned Odor getting on the board this spring with a towering home run to right field, his first. We look forward to many more in 2018.
Out there to face the opposing pitcher, Sal Romano. And then the top of the order. Romano had a base hit in the second inning. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. Emily Jones with us tonight down in the dugout. And I gave you not just half an inning, CJ, but like a full inning or something. 2 breaks, whatever it was. I gave you more time than I thought to answer the question, which is, Minor has been pitching as if in a 6-man rotation this spring, but it appears very much as if the Rangers are going to be going with a 5-man rotation, maybe modified just a little bit. But if it is going to be a 5-man rotation, how hard of an adjustment will that be for Minor coming out of a spring where he has pitched on what has felt like a 6-man rotation?
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I think, you know, normally for the guys that do it all the time, Cole Hamels has talked about this, right? Getting in that routine, having the same 4 off days in between every start. But Mike Minor's coming from a different situation, right? He's coming from a situation where a couple of years ago it was shoulder surgery. Last year he was a reliever. And I think the idea of maybe even giving him some extra days here and there is not a terrible thing, because most likely what's going to happen during the regular season is that whenever they can give someone an extra day, they're going to try to give it to Mike Minor. You know, the reality of how many starts he could make this year, what the range really could be is, I would guess, you know, not that anybody said anything, 20-ish, 25 maybe on the high end. I think is pushing it probably a little bit, but you see the Rangers starters there. Bartolo Colon, of course, is still here, and everyone else appears to be healthy as far as the starting rotation goes. And I still have to get to opening day, but it's still out there as a possibility as far as how the Rangers want to do this, or if it means Jesse Chavez, who's already been told he is on the team but will be in the bullpen, but also will be used as a swingman. It would not surprise me at all to see him get 5 to 10 starts this year. Certainly a possibility, and that might mean they do that when they feel like Mike Minor needs a breather, right? And so I think giving him the space now in between is okay. I don't think you want to push him too much. He hasn't started. Yes, he had the 10 starts in the minor leagues in 2016, but hasn't been a regular starter in a long time.
Hamilton shoots one out to left field. Rua has been busy out there. 2 away. Well, the first 14 games of the regular season all come without an off day. So it does create that question, right? Or
sure,
the necessity to answer that question one way or the other pretty early on.
You're right. I think, and again, just strictly guessing, and we'll see ultimately how the Rangers handle this, but I would guess that, you know, let's just say Mike Minor's first start goes well and it gives you 6 innings. Probably not going to push him very hard in the second one, and those are going to be the days where they may be saying, hey, Jesse Chavez, be ready to back him up pretty quickly, right? That's where the value of Jesse Chavez, once Tim Lincecum is healthy, if he's pitching multiple innings out of the bullpen, that's where that could be really helpful. I just think early on, they're not going to push it too much. If he has a start where he doesn't go very deep in the game and the pitch count doesn't get very high, then they're probably okay with just the 4 days rest and go ahead and take your regular turn and not be too worried about pitch count. So he's the guy that will be monitored closely, I think, throughout the year, and somebody they're going to be very careful with because, as you mentioned earlier, it's a 3-year deal for Mike Minor, who wanted that pitch called the strike, and I agree with him. But it's a 3-year deal, and you want to get the most out of Mike Minor over these next 3 years. And so that means being a little bit careful, especially at the start of 2018.
2-2 on Suarez. So it's all about health. It's all about figuring out what bodies to put where. And, you know, the makeup of the bullpen is critical. Talked a little bit the last part of this week about, you know, defining the roles as well. And Jeff Bannister has been coy. He's taken his time and said, look, I mean, you don't know. I'll tell you when we get to opening day. I reserve the right to make adjustments as we get closer based on what we see. Little comebacker makes it easy for Minor in a 1, 2, 3, 4th inning. Emily Jones going to have a little more on that and some news we got today when we come back. Middle of the 4th inning, 6-2 Reds.
Ball and some popcorn. So we welcome you back to Surprise Stadium. 6-1 Rangers, 6-2. Sorry, Joey Gallo's got me completely, my wheels completely knocked off. Welcome back to Surprise Stadium. I'm going to get it together. It's 6-2 Rangers trailing the Reds. We were talking, thank goodness, we were talking about the bullpen and how that is shaping up. We got news today that Tony Barnett likely will not be able to start the season because of that back stiffness. It's going to take him a while to get back into game shape. And so that might clear the way for a guy like Kevin Jepsen to start the season with the team. He's had a fantastic spring. You guys mentioned Jesse Chavez focusing on that bullpen role. And so things are starting to take shape. But as we've learned so many times that injuries can pop up here and there, you never know what's going to happen over the course of even a week as we head into opening day. So part of the reason why Jeff Bannister's keeping his options open and not tipping his hand too early.
Yeah, and there's no reason to do that, right? I mean, wait till the end. If you're not sure exactly what may be happening with some guys, it just doesn't make any sense to say definitively what's going to happen with the roster if you're not 100% sure. And you don't want to be ahead of that too early, and you certainly don't want any news getting out that you're not ready to announce just yet. And so you take this thing to the absolute very end as long as you can, or until you know you're 100% sure a guy may or may not be ready.
Beltre in mid-season form with that hack. 2-2 the count.
You see the happy feet going there a little bit from Adrian. There's a high breaking ball and a big swing and down to that right knee.
Not from the Tom Amansky school of baseball. 3-2 the count. Vance Worley is the relief pitcher here in the fourth inning for Cincinnati. So they got 3 innings out of their starter. And this one bounced up the middle and through. Base hit for Adrian Beltre. Good start to the fourth inning.
We'll take a look. A pitch that was down and away that just missed. Here's another one, but comes back over the plate a little bit. Adrian, good 2-strike approach right back up the box. A leadoff single here in the fourth inning. Vance Worley, a guy who spent 8 seasons so far in the big leagues. You see what he did last year with the Miami Marlins in those 24 games. 12 of those were starts, high ERA for him. Had some struggles, but this is a guy who's had some good years in the big leagues and kind of been one of those swingmen. He came up as a starter, but he's done kind of both, where he's been back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation the last 3 seasons. Each of those with a different team. The Pirates in 2015, the Orioles in 2016, and then you saw there the Marlins last season.
Came up with the Phillies as a starter. And this one grounded into right field. A base hit for Nomar Mazara. Back-to-back singles off of Worley.
Designated hitter 17,
That brings up Chu.
I really like the conversation that we had as you see Nomar Mazara with that really nice steady swing. The one that we had with Anthony Iapoce yesterday when we were talking about Nomar Mazara. And not only in this organization are people excited about where they think Nomar is headed, but also outside the organization, some publications saying some pretty impressive things. And Nomar handles things in stride. I think what stuck out more than anything, with Iapoce telling us that he had a 22-year-old kid essentially trying to calm his nerves and telling him everything was going to be okay, which is really amazing. And just to give you an idea of the personality of Nomar Mazara, to go with tremendous talent level. There is an absolute chance for him to really continue on the path that he's on and becoming an elite player in this league.
Chu trying to hold off, and on appeal, it's ruled he did not. To the count. Chu struck out looking in the second inning. Part of what would be a double play. A couple of homers, 8 RBIs for him this spring, though. 1-2 the count. Chu has felt great all spring. And told us the other day, I mean, he's ready to go. Enough monkeying around. He's long been ready. Felt he is ready for the rigors of the regular season. This one bouncing away, and Barnhart couldn't corral it or get to it quickly enough to get Adrian Beltre. So Beltre moves to third on a wild pitch.
Well, these are really tough blocks. It's the over-the-top 12-6 breaking ball for Tucker Barnhart. You never know which way this ball is going to bounce, especially when it finishes further in than you're expecting. He did everything he could. He does a pretty good job. Gets his body in front of the ball. You see him leaning forward a little bit. You do that, of course, to try to deaden the baseball, but it took a big bounce off to his right and gave Adrian Beltre plenty of time to get down to third.
Smart keeps the count 2-2.
It's funny how you mentioned about Chu kind of being ready and let's get the season started. And for a guy like him, veterans who have been around, you almost don't want to start feeling too good too early in spring training, right? You start to get locked in, and it's only March 15th. You're thinking, man, 2 more weeks to go. You just kind of want to get through spring training, kind of keep that groove, that comfort level. Foul balls off your ankles or anything else.
This one down the left field line, but foul. So good at bat going for Chu here. Beltre at third, Mazzara at first. Rangers trailing the Reds 6-2. There's Adrian, all smiles. And there's Maz, all business. Good, and Chu holds off on a pretty good pitch. It's a full count. We have a unique split squad situation tonight for the Rangers. Split squad and 2 night games. The other game going on in Peoria. Rangers leading 2-0 in that one, and Bartolo Colon pitching real well. And Worley loses Chu, so the bases are loaded here. Brings up Robinson Chirinos.
A couple innings so far for Bartolo Colon, 2 hits and a strikeout, no walks. Certainly a good outing from him. Put a little extra pressure on the Rangers. You know, we look at it and we try to figure out and say, well, where could he fit on the roster? The depth is what you love to have. And you know, if there wasn't a spot for Bartolo Colon, say on the opening day roster, boy, would you love to have him as a backup in the minor leagues now. A guy of his status, pretty difficult to convince him to do that. But certainly I got to believe if the Rangers had their choice, that would be what they would like to do. But again, it's a little bit of time to go. We'll see what happens ultimately with that roster. As you see Jeff Bannister on the right and then Doug Brocail as well in between. What was that guy?
It was Pudge, obviously.
The guy, the coffee fame.
It's Mr. Coffee. It's Joe DiMaggio.
Pudge Rodriguez, but they got to figure it out. I gotta believe they would love to somehow keep Bartolo if he doesn't make the team. Somehow keep him in the organization, but that'll be tough.
Well, this one so far has been pretty well dominated by the Reds, but Chirinos in a position to change that in a hurry. Morley gets him to chop one foul off of his instep. So Colon pitching well in Peoria. Still much to be decided with him. You look at his career numbers and how that ranks among active players. A lot of big numbers there.
I think didn't he pass Pedro for most wins by a Dominican-born pitcher last year, if I'm not mistaken? Probably should look that kind of stuff up before I say anything, which I will do right now.
I don't know the answer to that one, CJ.
Oh, come on, man. What are you doing over there?
Watching Chirinos rip one foul.
Yep, Pedro 219 wins.
So that was in a couple years ago.
And I just saw this one go across the 50th birthday of Pedro's brother, Ramon Martinez, today. Who, of course,
50th birthday, huh?
Yeah, as you well know, Ramon Martinez was the guy I got my first big league hit off of. I know you knew that.
Oh, there's been a lot of buzz about that. People always point that out.
It'll be the 23rd anniversary this June.
Oh, man.
So maybe parade.
Hard to believe.
In Cincinnati, where it happened.
Depends on what other holidays might be going on that day. It'll be National Cupcake Day. Ground ball, shortstop. Go to second one, the relay to first, and a double play. Takes a little wind out of the sails here. But Rangers pick up a run. Beltre able to get in. And Mazzara now over at third base.
Take a look at Rougned Odor back just an inning ago in the 3rd inning. First one of the spring, fastball up in a little bit, and you watch him, of course, pull those hands in and square it up. He knew it right away, and it was obvious off the bat. A big one for Ruben Odor. And as much as we don't make a big deal about spring training results, and we shouldn't, it is nice to have that first one. You know, the idea of finishing spring training and not having a home run, of course, when you're looking at one of your power hitters, and the guy's been so great in that regard last couple of seasons here in the big leagues. I'd like to have one or two, even though it's all going to go back to 0 on March 29th.
Yeah, the focus has certainly been way away from hitting home runs, not just for Odor, but for this team this spring. Focusing on smaller things like seeing more pitches, being more disciplined, with the idea that those little habits that they work on here in Arizona will translate to better results once we do get to the regular season. But I'm with you. I mean, especially for a guy like Rugi, you want to see a couple get over the fence. Chopper first base could be a tough play, but Votto is there. Ooh, barely held on to it. That one almost jumped away from him, but he gets Odor, and the inning is done. The Rangers get one more run back, and it's a 6-3 game as we go to the 5th.
Check out tickets.com's Facebook page for ways to win tickets and other cool giveaways. Tickets.com.
By a score of 6-3. Sunday, April 1st is Bluebell Ice Cream Sunday. Ice cream is just $1 for youngsters 13 and under. Come see your Rangers take on the Houston Astros in the Silver Boot Series, presented by the Texas Lottery. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. And this will probably be the last time this has to happen, but I do have to correct the mistake that I made.
Uh-oh.
And it is spring training for everybody.
Set the DVR.
In the back of my mind,
It's a bad place. Here's a ground ball up the middle. Andrus with a nice pirouette and go to first.
I was second guessing myself, as I so often do, as you see a youngster enjoying a little bit of ice cream at kind of a record pace. And there's the headache freeze. But Pedro Martinez is third right now of Dominican-born pitchers in Major League wins. Bartolo Colon is second with his 240. He trails who by 3, Dave Raymond?
243 victories all time for this Dominican-born pitcher.
You should know this.
But I don't.
Juan
Marichal?
Yeah. And that was my mistake. So that even makes it a little bit more interesting for Bartolo.
I see. So there we go. That's because I was going to say, if 219 was getting him past Pedro, that didn't happen last year.
No.
It happened a while ago.
So the
yeah,
conversation
so the big one
was
is
surrounding him is, can he get there? Can he find himself on a big league roster? I think that's maybe where the conversation was last year. Remember, he went to the Twins and he was talking about maybe retiring when he left the Braves. So it was all that whole conversation. Threw an excellent game against the Rangers a year ago.
Yeah, complete game.
Complete game. Under 100 pitches, if memory serves. So for Bartolo, just 3 away. That would be quite the honor. Listen, 240 wins is impressive regardless, but to be the all-time wins leader from Dominican Republic, great baseball history, so many great players that have come from that country. That would be pretty cool.
Swing and a miss by Duvall, and Mike Minor with another strikeout. Just his third tonight, but he's also retired, let's see, 3 in a row.
Take a look at this pitch right here, and there's that little kind of cutter slider. It's not a big slider. That ball's cutting back over the plate, and Mike Minor has been very strong using that pitch to what we call arm side, right? Away to a righty, into a lefty. That has been a good pitch for him this season. And I got to tell you, here comes his 70th pitch of the night. He's done a pretty good job as far as holding his strength, still looking sharp here in the 5th. And I felt like that pitch count, if you had asked me, would he be at 65 pitches to start the inning, I would have said no. He's got to be way above that. So that gives you an idea how much he's been throwing strikes, and despite the 6 runs and the 9 hits, keeping the game moving to some degree.
Well, indeed, 1-0, and it's a little wide, but as we've moved from inning to inning, I've been kind of keeping tabs on the count, and it is kind of interesting. He's getting, I guess, verdicts early in counts. Scooter Gennett, man at the plate, was the last man to have a hit against him, and he fouls this one on the left side and out of play.
Now, not to jump ahead, right? But if he could finish this inning at 75 pitches, averaging 15 per, he's pretty much right on pace on where you would want him to be. And I'm sure Jeff Bannister would much rather have seen 5 zeros, but at the same time, seeing him work through a little bit of trouble, and up to this point now in the 5th inning, looking pretty strong, and gets out Joey Votto and Adam Duvall, a couple of guys that have had some pretty good at-bats against him tonight. Because that's the thing, right? It's, we're confident that when you signed Mike Minor, we could give you 30, 40, maybe even 50 pitches, but could he build up and feel like he used to feel when he was that good starter with the Atlanta Braves, when he starts getting into the 60s, 70s, and 80s on those pitch counts? And he's shown that here tonight.
Well, getting better as the night wears on. 8 straight retired, including a couple of strikeouts. Early on was getting hit, relatively hard. And a bouncing ball left side right to Beltre. So it's a 1-2-3 5th inning. He's kind of cruising at this point. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Reds leading it 6-3. About a fan's choice 20-game plan, the most flexible way to enjoy the 2018 Rangers season. Choose the 20 games that work best for your schedule, including opening day. And look, if you can't make it to one of the games, it's not a big deal. 20-game plan includes a flexible exchange policy. If you'd like more details and check out some of the benefits, just go to texasrangers.com/20-game plans. Ryan Rua will lead things off here in the 5th inning. Vance Worley out for a 2nd inning of work. Gave up a run last inning, couple of hits and a walk. Got a big double play to kind of take the steam out of the Rangers rally. And now 1-1 to Rua. To the count. Rua will be in the platoon in left field with Drew Robinson. 208 this spring coming in, but today 0 for 1 with a strikeout.
Had a little trouble with that one fly ball that kind of died out, but has made a couple of nice plays since then. And of course, a year ago we were sitting here talking about left field with the Rangers, and it was decided that it would kind of be a 3-man platoon, which is certainly something you don't see very often. It ended up being George and Profar who took the bulk of those at bats in those innings in the outfield.
Ground ball up the middle with shortstop, handled by Phil Goslin.
And that'll, you know, that was for about a month, I guess, say, for George and Profar, where he held down the left field, and then Delano Shields got his opportunity, patiently waiting. Between Profar to Shields, Rua. Of course, Delano just had the really good year, and now taking over in center field.
Yeah, I think it was 20 games exactly, which is, it's all said and done, right about a month. Delano looking a bunt, drops a good one down that third base side, and he is safe. Another bunt single for Delano to Shields. Nicely done.
So fun to watch him do that. And kind of a lost art in the game. You see the late square, does a nice job of hanging in there, doesn't jump out too early because of the breaking ball. And the fact that the ball went straight down and got a little air time gave Delano just a little bit more time, as Tucker Barnhart did everything he possibly could to go out there and try to make the play. He made a nice throw, a nice spin move, and everything else that went along with trying to field that bunt. But Delano to Shields running. Let's go ahead and put that ball in your pocket.
Joey Gallo sends this one foul off to the left side, out of play.
Guaranteeing himself not a consecutive third 3-0 count, as he goes hacking pretty early. You see it there right next to Gallo's name. 2 in the lineup, and that is what the Rangers are planning to do with him. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch. It'll be a good opportunity for him. These are the situations in which Jeff Bannister is hoping for. Delano to Shields on first base, less than 2 outs. Joey Gallo up. You mentioned it earlier. Look at the left side of the infield, but also they draw the second baseman in a little bit closer, which should open up some base hits for Joey Gallo.
1 and 2 to Gallo.
Didn't like that one. That changeup at 82 miles an hour from Worley. Not sure he intentionally meant to throw that ball in. Right-handers throwing a changeup inside the lefties, not necessarily pitching 101.
Shields running, kind of a delayed steal, and he is gunned down at second by Barnhart.
Let's see here, Delano. Got regular jump, just kind of peeking in, and go ahead and credit Tucker Barnhart. He got a good pitch to handle. As you see the pitch up, that certainly helps, and he did a nice job. That was a quick release and a good throw.
One of those unique scoring moments that we talked about a lot. This ball lifted high in the air out to center field. Irvin is there and makes the catch. That was a 2-5 caught stealing with the shift. So the inning is done. Nothing doing for the Rangers in the 5th inning, and Elvis Andrus left in the on-deck circle, which means he'll lead off next inning. We talk a lot about Elvis and the role he has taken with his team, as he will one day no doubt take over that leadership throne from Adrian Beltre. And to that end, Adrian Beltre had some high praise for Elvis this week.
It is big because we all know that he likes to joke around a lot. He's a playful guy, but over the last 3-4 years, he has become one of the leaders on the team, and mentor of some of the young guys. And it's nice to see him taking on to that role. Be easy for me to pass the torch to him, and seeing him become the player that he is really nice to see him.
very nice words for his little brother, Elvis Andrus, and those two really are like big brother, little brother, and they have become very comfortable with that sort of terminology describing their relationship, but they do enjoy one another's company so much, and it's so obvious to watch them out there. If there is a more entertaining duo in Major League Baseball, I certainly do not know who it is.
No, I would agree with that. And that relationship is genuine, it's real, but then you also hear the seriousness behind it as well. And I got to believe for Adrian Beltre, as thrilled as anybody to see the year that Elvis Andrus had a year ago. What he did, not only the power, but the speed, and he's talked about it right over the last year and talking about even wanting to increase those stolen bases. But look at this from a year ago. Only 3 players in Major League Baseball that hit at least 20 home runs, 25 steals, and the 35 doubles. And Elvis Andrus right in there with the American League MVP, and Mookie Betts, certainly a guy who has gotten himself in that conversation of being maybe a perennial MVP. A little bit of a down year for him, but just some really good players right there and some elite company for Elvis Andrus. And as Adrian said, ready to maybe take the torch.
Well, Minor out for a 6th inning of work. He deals with Scott Schebler. Well, those numbers for Schebler right there. The spring he has had. A whole 0-2.
Little league numbers right there. Did that say 558?
It did indeed.
My goodness.
543 I had him coming in. But 15 RBIs.
I wonder if there's potentially, we'll take a look at the Schebler number, 528. He's 0 for 1 tonight, but certainly having a good year. And I wonder if potentially this could be Mike Minor's last hitter. We will see. There's some action in the Ranger bullpen. You have Schebler, of course, the lefty, a couple of switch hitters due after that. I believe that's RJ Alvarez, number 350. No, he's actually number 99.
Spoiled foul again. Count stays 1-2.
Like I said, I think for Jeff Bannister, pretty happy with the way things changed here for Mike Minor over these last 3 innings. He has retired 9 straight. Mentioned it. Some hard hit balls, the home run, of course, by Duvall, but also a couple of bad breaks on some ground balls that weren't hit particularly well. Then a misplayed ball in left field.
Well, he's kept a pretty good pace. He's kept his fielders engaged and managed to keep the pitch count down as a result. 1-2. Chopper. What a leaping stab down there by Joey Gallo. 1 away.
That was tremendous, and I think people sometimes forget about the athleticism of Joey Gallo because he is such a big guy, but he is a good athlete. He is taken to first base extremely well, and watch him get up here, and that's a great job, spread eagle as well, while he was up there. And certainly Mike Minor thrilled about that, as that was indeed the last hitter that he faced. And so he finishes his night by retiring 10 Cincinnati Reds in a row.
Well, nicely done. Sometimes not how you start, CJ, it's how you finish. And a real nice finish for Minor. RJ Alvarez coming on out of the bullpen. We'll be back with him in just a moment. Now we will see a little bit from Roy Emilio, otherwise known as RJ Alvarez.
45 games for him last year pitch, and of course was in AAA with the Texas Rangers. He is still only 26 years old. He had some big league time back in 2014 with the Padres, 2015 with the A's. It's a pretty big arm, good velocity. The issue for RJ over the years, though, has been the command. See a first pitch fastball there from Alvarez, but the fastball could sit right around 97 miles an hour. He throws a sinker as well, actually mostly two-seamers to go along with a changeup and a slider. And see Doug Brocail talking to his starter Mike Minor.
Oh, just a little onto the zone at 89 miles per hour. So those two will discuss everything that happened today. Again, I mean, when you pick up the box score, you say, I don't know, might not be real moved by it, but the way he finished it is what's so encouraging, and went right at 80 pitches, 82 pitches for the evening.
And the big one, right? What have the Rangers been preaching and focusing on? And this goes even back to last year. No walks. Those 5 1/3 innings for Mike Minor.
Oh, beauty right in there for a strike. 2-2. Count on Barnhart.
I think Alvarez is a pretty interesting guy coming over from minor league camp, and we showed the numbers. He's still young. He struck out 11.5 batters per 9 innings. That is a tremendous rate.
Hard ground ball into right field. And Barnhart aboard in this 6th inning.
I think went to the well one too many times there with the off-speed pitch. But the issue that's gotten in the way is the walks. The walk rate was 6 per 9, and you certainly would like to see your relievers at least in the 3s. And really, for the dominant relievers, you'll see them usually even in the 2s. 3, 3.5, right around there, a little bit below is about league average. 30 walks in 44 2/3 innings. That's been the issue, but it's a big arm that knows how to get swings and misses. It just needs to be in the zone a little bit more.
A little bit inside with that one to Pennington for ball 1. Pennington got the start at shortstop tonight and batting 8th. Guy who can be useful all over the field. 1-1 the count. Of course, Zach Cozart, their all-star shortstop last year in Cincinnati, through free agency, ended up with the Angels, opened up a spot at short with the Reds. Jose Peraza has been good, and was the, he was the incumbent, and he will have the job opening day as this ball hit hard down the right field line, and that is a fair ball. Just stayed fair. Around third, Barnhart, they'll send him to the plate, and into third base is Pennington with his 2nd triple of the night.
We don't see it very often, and for Cliff Pennington now, not only his 2nd triple, but one from the left side and one from the right side, but both of them in the right field corner as he gets out in front of that pitch and laces it down the right field line. Barnhart scores easily, grimacing a little bit after catching 5 innings so far. But a good night for Cliff Pennington.
The Venable, Vance Worley's going to go ahead and hit for himself here in the 6th inning. He's thrown a couple innings in relief and shoots this one out into the seats down the right field line.
It's a good sneak in of the really high quality nickname for Vance Worley. It's a good one.
I like it.
If you weren't listening closely, it was Vanimal. Something about the glasses.
Alvarez with that high set Burnley taking some hacks. This one might stay playable. No, it will not. Gallo, how are you? Over to that camera well.
But for Vanimal, I'd prefer to see no batting gloves to really kind of take it to, you know.
To really be an animal?
Yeah. As a pitcher, if I'm coaching him, I want to see him wearing batting gloves, but.
Remember the name Brad Leslie? Was he? I think he was with Cincinnati back in the day.
I don't remember that name.
Ended up playing in Japan many years. Became a bit of an icon in Japan. This one popped up on the infield near second base, and Odor right there for out number 2. And he was kind of an animal. In fact, that was his nickname in Japan.
Yeah, it says right here, the animal.
Yeah. He took
the Reds from 82 to 85.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was with Cincinnati back in the day. He took an oversized, you know, American personality over to Japan back in the day, and they loved it.
He played Japan 2 years, 86, 87.
I think he made movies over there. I think he became like a
really.
Yeah, he became like a big-time superstar there.
Mr. Baseball, based on him.
Here's Irvin, who came in to play center field an inning ago, his first at bat of the night. One 0, and a swing and a miss. I can't remember where I ran into Brad Leslie many years later. Coaching in independent league ball, something like that. He's one of those guys, irrepressible personality. He's not an animal, but he was the animal, Brad Leslie. So a little history of that nickname runs through the Reds organization. 1-1. Phillip Ervin in a hole now, a ball and 2 strikes. So Alvarez trying to navigate the rest of the 6th inning, coming on in relief this inning of Mike Minor, retired the final 10 batters he faced. Alvarez allowed a single to Tucker Barnhart, a triple to Cliff Pennington. Remains at third base. Righty's 1-2. Fastball at 92 miles per hour, and it crowds Irvin a little bit. Makes a count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Were you given a nickname when you played in Japan?
So Desane.
That's a pretty good one. That's fitting.
It just means yes.
Oh, sorry. There's a swing and a miss. And a strikeout of Irvin ends the inning. The Reds leave another man at third base. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's Cincinnati 7 and the Rangers 3.
agree as we welcome you back to Surprise Stadium. And the guys were talking about the relationship between Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus on the field. It's evident how well they get along, how much they enjoy each other, and a testament to their friendship came in the form of Elvis's wedding this fall whenever he got married, and the guy standing beside him was none other than Adrian Beltre. Adrian was his best man and gave a really, really nice and touching toast at the rehearsal or at the wedding afterward. And you know, to see those guys cut up as much as they do, and then to see them be sincere and loving in that way was a pretty cool moment.
Well, there's definitely a lot of affection there. Yeah, those two spend a lot of time together. And it's pretty cool when you see those fun relationships on the field, in the clubhouse, whatever, spill over into real life. 1-1 pitch, and Andrus hits this one high in the air, but got underneath it.
Well, I think
and
it just,
Urban is there.
you know, it must be nice to genuinely like and care about someone that you spend so much time with all baseball season long.
It would be nice.
I mean, I can't imagine what that's like.
Sure, make things pass a little easier. Andrus retired. Here is Adrian Beltre. Well, at least somebody gets to enjoy themselves.
Your inspiration.
Big swing and a miss by Beltre. So Vance Worley now in his third inning of work. And he's working to a new catchers. Devin Mesoraco has come on to replace Barnard. Mesoraco, one of those guys who, I mean, he was the guy who was the promising potential behind home plate for Cincinnati. They loved what he was able to do. He just couldn't stay healthy. Had so many problems the last handful of years. And now relegated to more of the backup role to Barnard. And Barnard has emerged as a Gold Glove defender. So kind of amazing sometimes the way this game works. Now the 1-2 to Beltre. And he chops this one towards second. Like it was going to get a high hop. Nope. Gianna, that one thrown away, so Beltre is on. There's an error.
Well, I think with this hop that Scooter Gennett believed that he had to hurry up a little bit, and you make that decision. Do you go for it or do you play back? And he did. And he had plenty of time, but he looked like he just kind of rushed that throw. And it sailed on him, and it was the second throwing error that we have seen from Reds defenders in the infield tonight.
So Beltre is on for Mazzaro, who has a couple of base hits here tonight. And he takes a low strike. Rangers scored a run on the first, another in the third on the Odor home run, and then Beltre scampered into the fourth inning on a double play ground ball. That's how they have managed their 3 runs on 6 hits tonight. And Mazzara spoils that pitch to make it 0-2.
One of my favorite parts of spring training, even though the defensive changes can get a little dicey, is that generally managers will put the defensive replacement in the same spot in the lineup. And that is appreciated when they do that. When they don't, it is not appreciated at all, because that's when it gets really haywire. And so hat tip to Brian Price, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, who has made it a little bit easier on us tonight so far.
Mazzara pops out to third base. Brandon Dixon tucks that one away.
So they've turned their entire defense over with the exception of Scooter Gennett, who's the only remaining starter in the game.
Well, Schebler might still be in there in right field.
He is? Nope, not according to my MLB at bat app.
You and your fancy
Elizalde.
Eliezer.
That's right.
Chu pops this one up at a shallow center. And here comes Irvin again. He's been busy since checking into the ball game, and it's a quiet bottom of the 6th inning for the Rangers. 7th inning coming. It's 7-3 Cincinnati.
Experience in their
Reds lead those Rangers by a score of 7-3. The Texas Rangers will take on the Toronto Blue Jays on Saturday, April 7th. That game starts at 7:05 p.m. And the first 15,000 fans of the ballpark will receive an Elvis Andrus bobblehead, courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brookshires. Make sure you visit TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. There's the BFFs.
Still doing work here in the 7th inning. In fact, the Rangers' original lineup still in the game. All of it intact. A new pitcher has come on. Jake Diekman, the native of Wymore, Nebraska. In there to face a 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Dixon, Cruz, and Goslin. And Diekman has had a real nice spring after coming back last year late in the season to get into 11 games and pitch quite well.
Full off season for Jake Diekman, I think, certainly will make a difference. And then, of course, the expectations that it will be a full season for him as well. As much as we've talked about that Ranger bullpen, and we know the issues that took place a year ago. Right now, for the most part, mostly healthy. Tony Barnett, the one guy to start the season. Tim Lincecum was not really expected to start the season anyway. He did get scratched from an outing that was scheduled for tomorrow because of a blister that he is dealing with, but nothing major so far for the Texas Rangers regarding that bullpen.
Diekman, the hard throwing left-hander, 1 and 2. And Dixon lifts it out toward right center field. The Shield able to get there, 1 away.
First baseman, number 68, Tony Cruz.
I think it'll be very interesting to see how Diekman does this year, because like you say, he has had all the rest. He's been able to get himself into tip-top condition. He's put on a lot more weight, strength weight.
Oh, I was about to say same, but actually changed it to strength weight.
I think feeling as good as maybe he has ever in the game.
Well, the timing certainly would be right for Jake Diekman. Turned 31 years old in January. He'll pitch in his 300th game. 6 more to go to get to that number. In his big league career, this will be his 7th season as well. But the guy has always had a tremendous arm. Incredible strikeout rates throughout his career. 11 per 9.
Check swing. Did he go? They won an appeal. No, he did not.
Take a look at what Jake Diekman has done over the course of his career. Mentioned just 6 away from 300 for him. Started off, of course, with the Philadelphia Phillies. Came over to the Rangers in 2015. His Rangers numbers have been really good. His time in Philadelphia, 4.73 runs per 9 average. His overall ERA 3.84 when he was with the Phillies, 2.95 with the Texas Rangers.
Part of the Cole Hamels deal, and boy, it's pretty amazing stuff as Cruz takes the walk here.
Left fielder, number 46, Phil Goslin.
And it'll bring up Phil Goslin. By the way, a little update from Peoria. Bartolo Colon, 5 shutout innings, 3 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. So Bad Bart pitching pretty well tonight.
And doing it against a Seattle Mariners lineup that has Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Kyle Seager, Ryan Healy, all in the middle of that lineup. D. Gordon leading off, Andrew Romine, a lot of the big leaguers that will be expected to be in what will be a really tough Seattle Mariners lineup. A little bit older in the middle, but Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz still getting it done. Kyle Seager has been incredibly consistent throughout his career. And now they, of course, have added Ryan Healy from the Oakland A's. So not only did he get it done tonight, but he did it against a good lineup of big league hitters.
Oh, yeah, when you talk about Kyle Seager, then think of the damage he has done against the Rangers. And as much as Kelowna is able to slow him down a little bit tonight, that you might put a little extra note next to his line. Strike in there to Gosselin, and the count 2-1. One out here in the 7th inning.
But maybe he was aware of that. The only walk that Bartolo Colon had tonight was indeed Kyle Seager. He knows. He's been around the block a few hundred times.
Upstairs, 3-1. So a walk to Cruz, and now Diekman has fallen behind Gosselin. 3 balls and a strike. So feeling for it just a little bit here. Diekman, 3rd pitcher of the night. Mike Minor went 5 1/3 to start. RJ Alvarez finished off the 6th inning, and now Diekman. Lefty's 3-1. Popped up. Short right field. Mazzara toward the line. And there are 2 away.
It's interesting just taking a look at an article on the Cincinnati Reds and their roster. It does appear that Sal Romano will be in that opening day roster, or excuse me, rotation for them.
Yeah, 3rd, maybe 4th starter in that rotation. Man on, and now Scooter Gennett. As I mentioned earlier, Gennett the only starter still in the game for Cincinnati. Somebody else pointed out. All right, here's a fun note.
Yeah.
So Cologne, we're talking about him pitching over in Peoria against the Mariners tonight. He's the last remaining active player in the big leagues to have played a game in the Kingdome.
I believe it. 1999. Right? Was the Kingdome shut down? Or no, 2000? It was in the middle of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the middle of the year.
Yeah. I think it was 99.
2000 or was it 99?
Maybe not. I'd take all that back. I remember pitching there in 99. I could be wrong. It's a good chance I'm wrong. Interesting to see Doug Brocail out to talk to Jake Diekman real quick as he's behind in the count. 2-0, maybe just checking on him or something maybe that he wants to see from Jake Diekman. I'm going to say 2000 without looking. Well, no, the Kingdome deconstruction date was March of 2000. So I'm going to say that.
So 99?
Yeah, but it was in the middle of the season.
Mid-season.
Yeah, mid-season, right? Because
June,
wasn't that the deal? That's
something
kind of
like
weird, right? By today's standards, it seems kind of strange
Yeah.
that they would do it that way to open up Safeco.
Down the left field line and out of play. 2-2. So good comeback for Diekman to get a couple of strikes. And even the count here against Gennett, who has a double tonight in 3 tries. Kelowna, that first game he pitched in the Kingdome, faced A-Rod at short, Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner.
July 15th, 1999. Once Safeco opened.
Diekman gets a called 3rd strike on Gennett and puts up a goose egg in the 7th. They stand a stretch here tonight, 7-3 Cincinnati. ball. A 2-run homer and a single. One of the highlights in the offense for Cincinnati. And Odor got his first home run of the spring, and no doubter to right field. Part of the Rangers' 3 runs tonight. All right, to relax and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Walk around with a piece of bread.
Is that bread or is that a cookie?
Oh, I like how you think.
It's kind of how I always think right there. Uh-oh, and that guy's like, oh, hello. I don't suppose you're using that, are you? Give me a high five, dude. I'm asking for what's in that hand, and that looks like a cookie.
Yeah, it's a good call. It's a pretty big cookie for a small kid.
Cookie to kid ratio a little out of whack.
Yep.
Here's Chirinos. He'll take a breaking ball for strike 1 from Austin Bryce. Uh-oh. Oh, he's out now. That cookie's in trouble.
Negotiations beginning early on.
Chirinos on the ground to the left side of the infield. And one away. Dixon over to his left on third base there. Makes the play. Brings up Odor. First at bat of the night for Rugi in the 3rd inning tonight.
Yeah, it was a good one. He's going to catch a pitch that is up and in. I mentioned it earlier, of course, first of the spring. Expect to see a lot more during the season, but it was absolute no doubt that ball was crushed to right field for Odor. 30 of them a year ago, 33 the year before that. 63 home runs in 2 years for Odor.
Swinging, first pitch, and drives this one up the middle for a base hit. So 2 hits tonight for Rugi. Good signs. Bring up Ryan Rua.
Well, good to see both of these things happening. That's a good sinker, by the way, from Price. He's got good movement, comes from that low 3/4 angle. You can see why he's a heavy ground ball pitcher. Odor does a nice job staying up the middle. You try to pull that pitch too much, you're going to hit a much slower ground ball to the right side. If they threw it in the middle, give yourself a chance. A base hit.
Rua hacking as well. Bouncer at third base. They go the short way second, but it gets away. Odor heading to third. The Rangers have him on the corners.
Take a look here. And looked like it had a chance to be at least 1, maybe 2, but a bad throw and an error on the third baseman. Maybe no outs. Not a terrible throw. That's a ball Scooter Gennett probably needs to catch. That error did go on the third baseman. Dixon, I watching that replay, I think I'd lean toward giving that one to Scooter Gennett.
So Delano showing bunt. Chops over to the first base side, and Bryce will scoop it underhand to first. They get the out, but the sacrifice good enough to get Odor to the plate, and it is a 7-4 game.
First baseman, number 13, Joey Gallo.
Well, Rua out there at second base. Two good bunt efforts today from Delano. Here is Joey Gallo, 0 for 3. This ball hit well out to right field and back to the wall. It is gone. Well, that was a line shot by Gallo, his 3rd home run of the spring. Good for 2 runs. And gets this one just a little bit closer. 7-6 the score.
Well, as much as Austin Bryce is a ground ball pitcher and you see the sink, he did allow 6 home runs last year with the Cincinnati Reds in just 32 innings, and he elevates one there, and that is the wrong guy to elevate a fastball to, as Joey Gallo is all over his first pitch. And you're right, we see Joey Gallo hit so many high and deep home runs. That was a line shot in the right center field gap.
Now Andrus. Two out here, bases empty. 7-6 the score. One strike pitch from Bryce, and it is inside. Roller shortstop. Routine play for Blandino, and the inning is done.
Well, it's Joey Gallo joining the party with Ruben Odor. Gets himself a first pitch fastball up and crushes it deep to right center field.
Fun game as we go to the 8th inning. I mentioned again the split squad game going on right now in Peoria against Seattle, and Bartolo came out for the 6th inning, got one out, and his final line 5 1/3, 3 hits, no runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. It's a pretty decent effort right there.
Excellent effort from Bartolo Colon. Certainly the Rangers are pleased with that. I think the most important things, and this is what Bartolo Colon has really done throughout his entire career, just does not walk hitters, just 1 walk in 5 1/3. So when you look at the 2 starters that went tonight for the Texas Rangers in both of these games, 10 2/3, and just 1 walk between Mike Minor and Bartolo Colon. So certainly an encouraging sign there.
Devin Mesoraco leading off the 8th inning against Matt Bush.
There are the numbers from a year ago, 57 games for Matt Bush. Spent a little bit of time, as most remember, as the Texas Rangers closer.
Right, he's 1-2. Just a little low. And Bush came in auditioning as a potential starter this spring, but about 2 weeks ago told that he would be going back into the bullpen. Of course, a dynamic arm out of that pen, and a swing and a miss at that good fastball. Oh, a little bit of breaking ball there from Bush, and he gets his first strikeout of the night.
Take a look here. Matt Bush, of course, we know about the good velocity, and there it is. That ball elevates up and in underneath the hands of As Rocco can't get to it. So I was saying all nice things about Brian Price.
I want to bring it up.
As far as switching guys just in and out, leaving them in the same defensive positions in order in the lineup. And so I'm looking at my scorecard and saying, well, wait a minute. Mazzaracco's up next in Tucker Barnhart's spot. That is incorrect. Oh well.
Such is life. 2-0 the count. Sebastian Elizalde.
Easy for you on the fancy iPad. You can just erase your mistakes. I do mine in pen. But it's spring training. So it's going right in the garbage as soon as
I was
it's
going
over.
to say, you could probably just stop scoring at this point. Roller second base. Oh, nice defensive play by Odor. Takes care of Elizalde. And there are 2 gone.
Second time in as many nights for Rougned Odor where he gets a firmly hit short hopper, and he's made a nice clean play. One of them resulted in a double play in yesterday's game, and here he is now. That is not an easy play, and he didn't even double check and make sure that ball was in his glove. Good hands by Rougned Odor. That is just strictly a reaction play.
Alex Blandino's first at bat of the night. Checks his swing. 1-1 the count. Well, the Cincinnati scoring came early. They had 3 runs in the first, added 2 in the second, another in the third. And now what proves to be a rather important run. After Minor, who finished very strong, retiring the final 10 batters he faced, he gave way to R.J. Alvarez. Alvarez gave up a single and a triple. And that run, they scored on the triple. Right now, the difference in this game.
Blandino, a first-round pick in 2014, out of Stanford University.
1-2. Got up in the seats in a hurry.
How about that born in Palo Alto?
That's kind of a confining little life right there, right? Born there, goes to high school there, goes to college there. Oh, the real world, Matt Bush. He's plunked him with a 92-mile-per-hour fastball, and Blandino is on with 2 out.
Pitching the Reds, number 52, Beltre and Andrus.
Big deep breath. Did hurt a little bit. I'm okay, coach.
And the inning continues now. Hector Vargas. And he takes outside for a ball. And so we'll see what Vargas pinch hitting here for the pitcher spot. We'll see if that's all he does or if he ends up heading out to a position after the inning is done. And he chops one towards second. Oh, a bobble by Odor, and everybody is safe. A little weird high hop. And he was doing his best to wait on it. And I think that the length of time that thing took to get to him forced him to pull the glove down a little quicker than he should have, and lost it.
We saw Rougned Odor make a really good play earlier in the inning, but you're right, and you see that one a little bit slower, took that second bounce, and he played it right as far as having it come right up to him. He just misplayed it when the ball got to him. It's a 2-out error, and the inning stays alive here for the Reds.
Bush already at 15 pitches for the inning and dumps that one in there for a strike to Irvin. Irvin 0 for 1, struck out in the 6th inning. Top of the 8th, 1-run game. And it's 1-1. Continuing to update on some of the action in Peoria. Steve Delabar came in for Bartolo Colon, gave up a run. Mariners now on the board, but it's 2-1 Texas in that one. Melvin spoils that one, foul and out of play. Drew Robinson and Juan Centeno have driven in the 2 Rangers runs. And those coming against Marco Gonzalez, who had the start.
Juan Centeno continues to have a very nice spring. A couple of hits tonight to raise that batting average to 296. He's been playing excellent defense.
Well, he's made some of those plays that you don't, necessarily get a chance to show a manager or a coaching staff you can make. And he's had these kind of quirky opportunities offer themselves up, and man, has he cashed them in nicely. He's been a real delight this spring.
He's done a great job blocking balls, done a great job with the pitching staff, the opportunities that he's had to throw guys out. And you're right, you can't always create those situations that you really want to see what guys can do.
Bush with a couple of strikeouts in his 8th inning today. Leaves a couple on base. To the last of the 8th we go in a 1-run game. Fans going to the cell phones. That's right, because they heard the news. Rangers baseball from spring training is always live with MLB At Bat. The MLB At Bat app will keep you connected every day with live radio calls, video highlights, stats, breaking news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB At Bat now. It's your #1 Rangers app. Yeah, text your friends. Tell them. Even if it takes 2 of you to do it.
There you go.
Text them.
Tell your bearded friend all about it.
Here's Adrian Beltre and Tanner Rainey, who is not on the travel roster or any roster given to us today, has come in the game.
That's pretty inconsiderate of the Reds.
Beltre greets him with a well-deserved base hit. And he now represents the potential tying run. Rainey now the 4th pitcher of the night. Sal Romano, Vance Worley, Austin Bryce. And now Rainey. Chopper second base, and Beltre's bailing out. And they get the double play. 4-6-3. And just like that, 2 out in the inning. Beltre takes his own routes sometimes.
And you watch him here, and he realized once it was a double play, going to pause and let me get out of your way. Let's just make sure again nobody gets hurt. And here we thought maybe he could serve as a distraction and then just right turn, jog it back in.
Can't teach that, or you don't teach that. Here's Chu, and he'll take low. I don't know if any player's ever gotten away with more over the years.
He certainly has some fun out there, and in that situation, right? I mean, like with anything, Adrian knows what he can, what he can't.
He picks his spots better than maybe anybody ever. Although last year when he pulled the on-deck circle, they weren't having it.
Not everybody on board. Rainey, by the way, last year worked his way up to Double-A, pitched in 14 games, did a really nice job. Should be 1.59 ERA. 27 strikeouts in 17 innings. He's got some swing and miss in his game overall for the year. 15.1 strikeouts per 9.
Woo.
That's a big number in his 62 innings of work.
Full count now on Chu. Two away. And that one is low. Chu works the walk. The base runner in the bottom of the 8th inning. Robinson Chirinos. What do you think of the logo, the alternate logo that, like Rainey's cap, Chirinos swings and misses? You know, the old C, Cincinnati, just only been around like 120 years.
Yeah.
Last year, they added that look, an alternate cap that they would use during batting practice.
The old English C.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, did you need to do all that? 1-1. See, that thing has stood the test of time.
Well, listen, I understand why teams do it and throw some alternate jerseys and logos and everything else out there. And fans certainly eat that stuff up, but if we're being honest, and that's all we do here in this booth, double thumbs down.
Yeah. 1-2 on Chirinos.
Tell you what, that fastball looks like it's got some giddy up on it. I don't know if our radar gun's a little slow in the stadium. It didn't pick up that one. Saw one earlier, about 90 or 91. I think he throws a little bit harder than that. With that strikeout rate he had a year ago, and the reaction from a couple of these Rangers hitters, the fastball's getting on guys a little bit.
Checks in with Chu. Well, the Rangers went with what we would suspect would be the opening day lineup, and everybody has stayed in. Now, through 8 innings, is a swing and a miss. That one gets away. Chirinos pedaling for first, and he'll be there safely, so the inning continues. Strikeout of Chirinos. Gets to first on the wild pitch.
It's going to be a breaking ball down on the dirt. It's a pretty good one, but unfortunately for Mesoraco, right through his legs. He got down, but he didn't get the glove down in time. You see Chu head down to second base, and so the Rangers now with the potential tying run in scoring position with Rougned Odor, and I guess that's going to be it for Robinson Chirinos tonight.
Look, that's the potential go-ahead / winning run. Eric Jenkins with maybe a little more speed over there. Pinch runs.
Anybody can score a home run.
Good point. Are you calling the home run? Is that?
I think it's pretty obvious.
He's had a couple of good swings tonight. The home run in the third, the base hit his last time up.
Jenkins 2 years ago, 2016, played at High Desert and Hickory. 51 stolen bases for him in 127 games.
Choose at second. Jenkins at first base. The 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes. All right, we saw Gallo swing twice on 3-0 pitches tonight. You gonna let Rugi go here?
Absolutely. It's spring training. You want guys to be comfortable in these spots, and what Rugi and Odor working on this spring is really focusing when he is ahead in the count on his strength in the zone. Where is he looking for a pitch? And if that pitch is there, I say let it fly.
Tanner Rainey to the plate, and he is swinging 3-0, and that one served down the left field line, but foul. Now the 3-1. That ball well struck out to left field. Gosselin back. Does he have room? He does. And the inning is done. So the Rangers leave 2 out there, and we go to the 9th inning in a 1-run game. Rangers honoring members of last year's Down East Wood Ducks, co-champs of the Carolina League. And the finals were canceled due to Hurricane Irma last year, but players and staff for the High A affiliate got their Carolina League championship rings. John Daniels and Paul Kruger and Jace Tingler and all the guys congratulating them before the ball games. That was really cool today. Always good to have a winner.
And a cool ring.
Yeah, very nice.
A little wood duck right on there.
How many rings, championship rings and whatnot, did you accumulate?
Well, let's see, the 1989 state champs. You want to go how far back? I want to go. It was the Big East championship ring. St. John's got that one in the case.
It's pro stuff.
98 World Series. AAA World Series ring.
So that's good though. That's cool.
I mean, just racking them up like crazy. Nice.
Any that is handsome?
No. I mean, the rings have just continually gotten better at every single level. They are completely out of control at the amateur level. No, at the amateur level. The amateur level, they are absurd.
My kids have rings that big.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
some
nuts.
of the stuff with some of these organizations, like save something for the big time.
Anyway, 1-1 the count on Dixon. Down in the dugout, Emily Jones always working, ninth inning, and she's hanging out with Robinson Chirinos.
Yes, Robinson playing almost a full game today. Now that we're almost done with spring, how are you feeling physically, mentally, all that stuff?
Yeah, when I ate today, I feel good. My body, my mind is where it needs to be right now in spring training. So I'm excited to go home on Saturday and get ready for play at home in front of our fans.
And you've got a big week coming up. Your wife, Heidi, is going to have a baby very soon, making you a father for the second time. What are those emotions leading up to opening day and knowing that that's going to come before?
Excitement. You know, it's something we've been looking for the whole off season, and my wife, my family, and myself. I mean, I'm ready to see Julian on Wednesday, so I'm excited and thank to God to allow me be a daddy again. So it's a blessing.
Also, too, Robinson, we talked about the situation with your family. That will also, I'm sure, be weighing heavily on your mind. How difficult has it been for the last year or so to have that in the back of your mind always?
It's tough, especially with a close family member. I mean, it was my sister and her family who went through all that situation, and I mean, thank God I was able to help him out and bring him here to the States. So something I've been praying for a long time, and it's in God's hands. And opening day when they go and see those people from immigration.
How do you compartmentalize things? How do you keep it separate?
I try to just trying to, when I'm playing, just don't think about those situations. I mean, it's hard, but I have to do the job and be there for my teammate. And I think it's easy for me being behind the play. I have to focus about calling the game and blocking and throwing people out. So I don't have too much time to think about all the stuff. But when I'm out of the field, for sure, I'm thinking 100% all the time.
For you, baseball-wise, though, is this the most comfortable you've been, just knowing where your role is on this team and how important you are?
Yes, I mean, I feel like I've always been a really guy who my teammates and the coaches, they appreciate to having around. But for sure, I feel I own the situation I am right now, and it's a good feel. But still, with more playing time, it's more responsibility. I have to be there every single day for my pitching style for this team.
And also, too, developing into, not into, but you have been for a while, at that leadership role.
Yes, I mean, something I learned from my dad when I was a kid. I mean, no, this is not something I'm doing here in this clubhouse. I've been doing my whole life. But it's easy when you know the guys for a long time and they know you and they kind of appreciate what you do. And I mean, it's a big family here and we take care of each other. So it's good to be there for my guys.
Well, Robinson, we're thrilled that you're back, and we'll be thinking about you and your family over the next week or so. And best of luck this season.
Thank you, Emily.
Guys, we'll send it back up to you.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Boy, you talk about a lot going on, right? I mean, the thrill of being a dad again, the anxiety of your sister, and everything that she's gone through, and then, of course, opening day start as catcher. Amazing, amazing. Jose Leclerc, perfect. At the top of the ninth. Last chance for the Rangers coming up.
Everything sports, visit surprisespringtraining.com.
apartment just above us. I watch him roll down the hill.
Noisemaker?
Yeah, he's always moving. Looking ahead to the regular season, just around the corner. Opening day coming up a week from today. It is a day game on Thursday. Interleague this year, it's going to be with the West Division teams. 4 of the 5 coming to Arlington. Rangers going to LA, Arizona, Colorado. No, not Colorado. San Francisco and San Diego. Colorado is coming to Arlington, but the Giants are not. Anyway, and then all the holidays, every holiday imaginable. We'll be celebrating. Ryan Rua, and that one flared into left field, and the potential tying run is on in the bottom of the 9th inning.
This pitch looked like it got in on Ryan Rua a little bit. We'll see. There it is. And you see a piece of his bat come flying off as he broke his bat, but he'll be okay with it as he gets enough of that ball to line it in the left for a base hit. Will we see a 3rd attempt from Delano DeShields? A 3rd bunt attempt. Not a bad time to do it, especially a push bunt to the right side right now. Not a terrible idea.
Looks like he was looking to swing, and he takes strike 1. And they're aware of Dixon at 3rd base is anticipating the same thing.
Right, but you think about where the second baseman is playing right now. Scooter Gennett, the only red to stay in this game. But if you can push that ball where you can pull the first baseman off the bag, it'll be a base hit every single time for Delano DeShields. Oh,
doesn't need it. Clipped by the pitch, just grazed, and he heads to first.
Delano looked a little shocked there. Disappointed. Watch here. He wasn't bunting. That one just grazed the jersey a little bit, so probably didn't hurt very much. Nope.
Knocked a little dust off that thing. How dare you? Did he just hit me? I don't know, but he out. Rua at second, DeShields at first, and here is Gallo, who blistered a home run in the 7th inning.
Heads up for the bunt here. This is what you want your 2-hole hitter to do, is give himself up.
Good point.
Or just mash a ball in the right field. Let's call it a night.
Hey, by the way, we talked a little bit about the Mike Minor start today, and wasn't result-wise didn't go quite as well in the early innings, but he finished strong by retiring the last 10. Jared Sandler does such a great job on the radio side for the Rangers. Was downstairs after the game and was able to catch up with Mike Minor. Minor pointed out that afterward he felt very good about the outing today. He got up to 83 pitches, which was good. We had pointed that out, but he wasn't concerned about the early runs because he was only throwing his fastball those first few innings. Once he got going, he added the changeup and the curveball. It was what then we saw at the end there, where he was setting them down 10 in a row. So that's the kind of the tricky part sometimes about spring training. 0-2. Gallo fouls off another.
And that's what spring training is about for guys. And I think for Mike Minor, a much different situation as he is making his way back into the rotation after being a reliever full-time a year ago with the Kansas City Royals, and feeling good about that fastball, establishing the fastball, because it is easy to start thinking, well, I want to start throwing a lot of my off-speed pitches. Am I worried about getting outs, or am I worried about working on anything with my fastball, whether it's command, whether it's movement, just throwing it more four-seamers, whatever it may be, all the different things you work on in spring training. So for a guy like Mike Minor, you go ahead and you do that, and you stick to the plan. And that's the part that gets tough, because you're a competitor. Even though it's only spring training, if you knew you wanted to throw predominantly fastballs the first couple innings, but you let up a little ground ball base hit here, something else happens, it's easy to want to go to something else. But he stuck to the plan, got his work in, and did an excellent job tonight.
Another big swing and a foul ball by Gallo. 1-2. We've got a game here tonight where Gallo is homered and Rougned Odor has homered. And I'd like to think that when that combination homers in a regular season game, the odds are going to be pretty high that game works out well for him. 1-2. Tanner Rainey out for a second inning of work, and Now evens the count on Gallo. Here comes. And a strikeout is the first out of the inning.
It was a good breaking ball, and that was an excellent combination. After elevating the fastballs, trying to get Joey Gallo to chase out of the zone, Joey did a great job of laying off the high fastball. So watch the depth of this breaking pitch. It starts about chest high for Joey Gallo and finishes below the zone. Tough one to lay off of after the couple of fastballs that were thrown previously.
So Elvis Andrus 0 for 4, but with an RBI tonight, an RBI ground out back in the first inning. Tying run out there at second base. The winning run is at first. Both with good speed. And Andrus takes strike one. Well, Elvis has reached in every game he's played this spring. And a chopper at third base. They'll go to second for one. And that will be the only out they get. And 2 away now. Rua at third base. And Andrus at first.
Well, right guy, right spot. A tying run on third base for Adrian Beltre. See what he's done so far here in spring training, but it was a little bit of a challenge. You get some pitchers that you've never seen. Maybe not quite as an intense moment for Adrian as it is for Rainey.
Oh, man.
Well, think about this, right? You're a young pitcher with a big arm, and you know you're facing a future Hall of Famer, and you get one that's a little bit close.
I got it.
And then there's Adrian. The faux swing.
And fouled away. This is kind of a, like you say though, a perfect spot. Not because you necessarily need, you know, your superstar to be a hero in this kind of a game necessarily, but this is great. We've seen a lot of this spring where especially some of the veteran guys have done the little things to try and help an inning or help the offense a little. This is a great spot for him to really dial in and see if he can create that big RBI here. Ooh. Big swing, but got underneath it. And Irvin is there. Ball game over, and Cincinnati takes this one tonight 7-6 as the Rangers lead the tying run at third. Back with more in just a moment.